When was the last time you sat down and just looked at something online without immediately questioning if it was real? Think about it. We've reached this bizarre, unspoken point in human history where our first instinct when seeing a beautiful photo or a funny video isn't to smile or feel inspired. It's to squint. We look for that sixth finger on a hand. We look for a weirdly smooth texture on a cat's fur. We look for the background blurring into a nonsensical dreamscape. We've collectively developed this low-grade, constant paranoia just to navigate the internet. It's exhausting, honestly. But anyways, there was this piece of news that dropped recently. YouTube announced they're finally starting to use internal systems to automatically detect and force labels on AI-generated content. Up until now, creators only got labeled if they voluntarily checked a box, which, let's be real, almost nobody was doing. If you make a living off of automated slop, you aren't exactly rushing to put a warning sticker on it. But now, YouTube is stepping in. They're putting a clear marker right under the player on long-form videos, and even crazier, they're stamping an overlay directly onto shorts. When you really break it down, it's a surprisingly rare win from a massive tech company. Shorts are basically designed to be this mindless, friction-free hyper-frenzy. You swipe, you get a microdose of dopamine, you swipe again. It takes actual effort just to find out when a short was uploaded because they bury the text. So for YouTube to willingly disrupt that smooth, hypnotic scrolling experience by plastering a glaring AI label right over the video, that's a massive deal. They're basically admitting that the platform is drowning in a river of synthetic noise. And they need to throw us a life jacket before we all just tune out completely. But hey, that's just the corporate side of it. The real question is whether it actually changes anything. Even if YouTube bats 100 with their detection, a lot of people simply aren't going to read the labels. We are living through a profound, slow-motion evaporation of human attention. We've traded our focus for convenience, and we're paying for it with our sanity. A lot of folks, especially older generations who didn't grow up watching the internet evolve, genuinely can't tell the difference anymore. They see a hyper-realistic image of a kitten playing ice hockey or some bizarre, AI-generated miracle story, and they take it as absolute gospel. They leave heartwarming comments, they share it with their friends, and the machine just keeps spinning. It reminds me of a guy I ran into at the gym a couple of weeks ago. He's an older dude, super friendly, always wears those vintage mesh hats. We were catching our breath between sets, and he pulls out his phone to show me this video of a massive, glowing underwater city that deep-sea divers supposedly discovered off the coast of Florida. He was visibly vibrating with excitement, talking about how the media was covering it up. I looked at the screen, and bro, it was the most painfully obvious AI render I've ever seen. The water physics made no sense. The divers had 3 arms, and the lighting looked like a video game from 5 years ago. But looking at his face, I just didn't have the heart to tell him it was fake. He was so genuinely filled with awe, a feeling that's increasingly rare in our cynical world, and I didn't want to be the internet cop who ruined his day. But walking out to my car afterward, it hit me how terrifying that actually is. If we can't even agree on what is physically real anymore, how are we supposed to connect on anything deeper? And that's the existential trap of the modern web. We're living in a boiling frog situation. We have a finite amount of outrage and care energy to give to the world. There's a massive economic incentive for companies and bad actors to just flood the zone with cheap synthetic slop because it makes money. Advertisers don't care about the philosophical erosion of human truth. They care about spending changes. Did people stop buying soda because that recent commercial used creepy, hollow AI animation? No. They complained on Twitter while sipping a cold can of the exact same drink. The market doesn't learn lessons from our complaints. It only learns from our compliance. Eventually, the noise gets so loud that a kind of collective numbness sets in. We just accept that a massive percentage of what we consume was birthed by an algorithm that scraped the collective work of millions of actual human artists without their consent. We get tired of fighting it, we get tired of squinting, and we just let the slop wash over us because fighting it feels like trying to vacuum the desert. That's why I try to keep this specific channel a completely human space. I don't take corporate sponsorships, and I don't let algorithms write my thoughts, because I think we desperately need corners of the internet that still feel like a quiet conversation between two actual people. If you want to support that mission and hang out with a community of folks who still care about real human connection, there's a link to our Discord community below. It's just a space to talk about philosophy, life, or whatever else is on your mind without the noise. For real though, I appreciate you taking the time to sit here and listen to me ramble tonight. Protect your attention, watch out for the slop, and we will talk again soon.